All right, we should be live. Hey, everybody, it's John Nemo. So excited to have you here. First thing I want to do before we dive into the presentation, I know I'm on a little bit early, is let me know where you're logging in from and what type of work you do. I want to make sure that today's presentation on LinkedIn lead generation, that I can customize and personalize it for you as much as humanly possible. So I'm going to be looking here. Let me just make sure I have all my do not disturbs on. Make sure that we've got everything lined up. So let me know in the chat, in the comments, where you're logging in from and what type of work you do. I want to make sure as we go along, we do a lot of Q&A, give you a lot of advice, insights specific to you, your niche, your target audience, all that good stuff. Going to be covering a ton today from the book, LinkedIn Riches. So here's a gratuitous flyby, right? In case you haven't seen it, all new, completely updated. Happy to give you a free copy. If you want a free digital copy of the book today, if you haven't already gotten it, I give it away for free as a PDF, a Kindle file, or an audiobook. Just go to nemomediagroup.com and you can grab it for free. So let me actually put that up. If you go here, nemomediagroup.com, you can actually get the whole book for free. And I have other books as well. So depending on what niche you're in, if you're in mergers and acquisitions, if you're a franchise consultant, we got books galore, baby. We work with a lot of people in specific niches. So one of the things I've done and our team has done is create specific case studies and content based on the niche that you're in, specific LinkedIn strategies, ideas, all that. So again, you can get all the books for free, all kinds of free tips at nemomediagroup.com. Just click on the free button. So let me figure out here. Again, let me know in the comments where you're from, what type of work you do. Hey, Steve. Steve from Canada, eh? I got to pull out all my accents. Steve, what type of work do you do, my friend? I feel like we've talked before. I think you have a small business. Are you like a sales trainer? I know we've talked before, Steve. It's been a while, probably the Noon with Nemo days. But welcome, Steve. Super excited to have you here. Let me know in the comments. Follow Steve's lead here on LinkedIn, or if you're watching on YouTube, just check in. Let us know where you're logging in from, what type of work you do. Steve is in Canada, so you're probably watching the hockey playoffs. I am devastated. The Minnesota Wild lost. Boo-hoo. Eliminated as usual in the first round. We're awful. Bill Bateman. All right, good to see you, Bill. Albuquerque, New Mexico, life and health insurance. Fantastic. Steve does. This is the official title of what Steve does. Medical stuff. All right, medical stuff. I'm just giving you a hard time, Steve. All right, fabulous. Glad to have you here, Steve. Anyone else that's jumping in, again, let us know where you're logging in from, what type of work you do. John Schaefer is here, Phoenix business broker. Oh, very interesting. So, John, if you haven't already, we got a little free book. I'm assuming you do like mergers and acquisitions and helping people sell their business or buy a business. Actually just wrote a whole book on that with our best ideas, insights based on clients we work with in that space. nemomediagroup.com. Just there's a free link. You can grab it. So again, lots of good stuff. All right, we got Stan, the cartoon man. Hey, how you been, Stan? All right, love it. Good to have you in here, Massachusetts. Donald, good to see you, my man. CPA, good to have you here, sir. Oh, a lot of them are coming in now. All right. Let's see. Personal financial coach David Lynn, online trainings for mindful medical massage and yoga therapy. Oh, interesting. All right. Mesa, Arizona, my happy place. I love it. Chicago, Joe Wall, Chicago coach to the insurance world. All right. Bears fan, do you like the Bears draft? Are the Bears going to be terrible again? We all want to know, Joseph. We know they'll be bad again. Come on. All right. So again, my name is John Nemo. Super excited to have you here. If you're not familiar with me, I'm the author of this fantastic book, LinkedIn Riches, if I do say so myself. Since 2012, our agency, Nemo Media Group, we've been helping consultants, coaches, small business owners generate leads on LinkedIn, make 5- and 6-figure sales. And what we're going to walk through today is the exact blueprint for you to know where your next client is coming from. So specifically, step by step, the exact approach you can take that we walk our done for you clients through in terms of how do you find your ideal clients on LinkedIn? How do you get them engaged? How do you make a 5- and 6-figure sale? How do you do it without being spammy or sleazy or taking 20 hours a day to do all this manual effort? Do you have to post tons of content? Do you have to comment on everyone's posts? What do you do? How do you do it? All of that, we're going to remove all the mystery. We're going to make it simple and scalable. This is a proven system. Okay. So that's what I'm so excited about. Now, more and more people here. Joseph is not a Bears fan. Good for you. Bernie Beck Jr. is here. All right. Austin, Texas. business consultant, executive coach. Fantastic. Glad to have you here. All right. Keep Austin weird, Bernie. Keep it weird. Isn't that the phrase there? Stevie Ray Vaughan statue, Austin, Texas. I have to make a pilgrimage. I love blues guitar. I used to play lead guitar in a band. Stevie Ray Vaughan is the greatest of all time. In case anyone's wondering about Guitar Heroes, I'm coming, Bernie. I'm coming to see that statue. Anyone else joining us? Again, welcome. My name is John Nemo. Super, super excited to have you here today, helping you figure out how to generate leads on LinkedIn, how to wake up tomorrow knowing where your next client is coming from. If you haven't already, jump in the comments. Let us know where you're logging in from, what type of work you do. Want to make sure that we can provide as much value as possible here. Becca Arco is also here, so everyone say hello to Becca in the comments. She is our VP of Client Strategy, our VP of Business Development. Becca's going to be very active in the comments, answering questions, sharing links, anything that you need. She can also be there helping out. So, all right, Bernie is staying weird. That's fantastic. I'm glad to hear Austin is still weird and that you're contributing, Bernie. That's great. Again, super excited. Have a lot of ground to cover today. So I want to jump in. And as we go, this is kind of a hybrid deal. So obviously I'm here live today, presenting and sharing ideas. We're going to do a lot of live Q&A, a lot of interaction. I've also got some trainings I'm going to show you on the screen where I'm walking through, specific ideas, topics, showing you things on LinkedIn. So I'll be behind the scenes off camera as well. So again, want to make sure that we get you as much value as possible on here. All right, welcoming everybody else that's hopping in. We got Amy is coming in. All right, you're a PhD and a PCC and a BCC and a BFD, big freaking deal. Is that, Amy, do you have a sign on your desk that says this? You got a lot of letters after your name, Amy. A lot of letters. PhD, that's impressive. This is an interesting marketing thing, though. So this is a total rant or riff aside. PhD, PCC, and BCC. My big thing with the marketing, with the letters after the name and your title on LinkedIn, does your target audience know what it means? PhD, we all means, okay, you're really smart. You got an advanced degree in something. BCC and PCC, I don't know what those mean. And we'll get into this here. One of the things with LinkedIn, I'm not picking on Amy, just on if you've got because a lot of people have accreditations or certifications, or I see like CFC or for coaching, there's a bunch of letters for coaches. One of the challenges I have found is if your target audience doesn't know what those mean, if those are more inside baseball terms, like for coaches, I'll see people say like, I'm a so-and-so certified coach. And that's like, yeah, but most people don't even know what that organization is, right? Or I'm a certified FEY, whatever. Anyway, we'll get to all that. And I'm not here to pick on Amy. All right, coaching, ICF, so International Coaching Federation. Okay, so yeah, so those are things that I've seen. If your audience knows what they are, they're great to add. If they don't know what it is, then I'm going to show you ways to kind of get more bang for your buck with your LinkedIn headline and more simple. So all that said, oh, Amy's in here, Minnesota. Hey, nice. All right, I'm in Woodbury. So do you know somebody in our team? Is it Jen Wiggins? You're a friend of a friend of a friend. So anyway, Amy, welcome. We got the local angle. We got Minnesota covered. Becca is here too in Stillwater. I'm in Woodbury. Okay. All right. I love it. Assisting small business owners with accounting, tax, and advisory. Fantastic. All right. Good. We got lots of people in here. Super excited. So without further ado, again, my name's John Nemo. I want to welcome you to the presentation. Super excited that you're all here. What I want to do now is jump off camera, make sure that we can start diving into the training. I'm going to start with just a little bit of the story of where Nemo Media Group came from, why you're going to want to listen to what I have to say today, and then most importantly, get right into the tips, starting with how to create a client attracting profile. So without further ado, let's dive in. So just in case, if you're not familiar with me, if you're not familiar with my story, I didn't wake up one day and say, I want to be a LinkedIn lead generation guy, and I'm going to get featured in Inc. magazine and the New York Times and on LinkedIn's blog, talking all about LinkedIn lead generation, right? That's where I am today. That's where I've ended up. In fact, even the robots love me. Even AI, if you put in, or at least recently somebody shared this as a screenshot, who are the best lead generation experts to talk to about LinkedIn lead gen? ChatGPT actually put me number one on their list. So there you go. I got that going for me. The AI loves me. And where that's led to now today is having a full scale, done for you LinkedIn lead generation agency. Yes, I have incredible fashion sense. That's just a side benefit of working with us is my Zubaz pants. But I've rewritten LinkedIn profiles for a lot of big name people. Bob Berg and John Lee Dumas and lots of other people have a whole full service agency. We have a lot of fun. So now I want to talk about what type of content to offer people on LinkedIn. Remember, the money's in the mailbox. It's in these one-on-one messages, and you're going to offer some sort of free content, free tips, etc. What should it be? Should it be a video? Should to know is we've helped countless, small business owners and consultants and others, get incredible results from LinkedIn, making 5 and 6 figure sales. So there's a lot behind the tips that I'm going to teach you today, what I've learned, how it all works. And I really want to start with my own story, where this all came from, because it's going to show you how to use LinkedIn. And the whole thing started, it's a crazy story, back in 2012. And at that point, like a lot of people, I was working a safe 6-figure day job. I didn't have to do anything different. I could kind of, put my career on cruise control. But I really had this hunger. Every single day when I would come home from work, and I actually have a picture of it because it so resonates. My 3 boys would run to the front door. They were really young at the time, all under the age of 10. And they would yell, "Daddy's home." And, here they are mobbing me at the door. And it was killing me being at this corporate job, commuting across town, all that. And then I felt like it was missing my kid's childhood. And so I really decided, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take a shot at this. I want to build work around my life instead of the other way around. So what I did was I quit a safe 6-figure day job. I had enough money for 30 days. I had a whole 1 client. And again, this is back in 2012. So I quit my job. I have enough money for 30 days and 1 client. We also had no savings. In fact, we probably had about 20 or 30 grand in credit card debt. But I said, forget it. I'm going to try it, right? That's just my personality, not the recommended blueprint if you want to go into business on your own. But it's what I did, right? And so I also told myself, at that point in my career, I can always go get another day job. I want to take my shot. And so I opened Nemo Media Group. I had a very exciting first office, very high end. Hopefully you can see an image of it right now, but it was my laptop on top of an empty Super Pretzel box. That was the office, the first office for Nemo Media Group. It was just me in a corner bedroom. And what I realized when I did this back in 2012 was there was an opportunity with LinkedIn that I didn't see other people utilizing. And I really wanted to take advantage of this, and that's what I did. And using the approaches I'm going to show you in this video and in this presentation, I was able in those first 90 days back in 2012 by myself, sitting in a corner bedroom, with the soft pretzel box in my laptop, I was able to generate $135,000 in new business, new clients from just random people on LinkedIn. So I was able to replace my day job and I was able to start building a business, and I never looked back. And so I really want to walk through how this works and what the first key step was. And what I realized back then, and what is still true today, is your LinkedIn profile is where everything starts. If you don't have a really well done LinkedIn profile, you're kind of dead in the water. It's like, inviting people to a party at your house and your house is under construction or dilapidated or it's missing the door, right? And people are scared to go inside because something might fall on their head. So you've got to have a really good LinkedIn profile. And the big eye opener for me, the big change that I made was turning my LinkedIn profile away from being a resume, which is still what you see so many LinkedIn profiles today. They are like an online resume. You talk in the third person, you lead with your job title, you lead with descriptions of everything you do all day, every day. And of course, the only problem with that is no one cares. Nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about me. They only care about themselves, morning, noon, and after supper. That is a quote directly from Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I literally built my entire business off that quote, that nobody cares about you, nobody cares about me, they only care about themselves. And so with every aspect of my business, I've always tried to figure out, how do I implement that? How do I apply that? When it came to my LinkedIn profile, I quickly realized, man, my LinkedIn profile reads like a resume. It's just all about me and the different jobs I've worked. And again, the only problem is if I want to use LinkedIn for business and to get clients, I got to make it all about them and what I can do for them and the key problems I can solve. So I really started here. I started with understanding the one client I had at the time was a debt collector. And so I'm pulling up the part of my profile. I had worked for a couple of years for a debt collection trade association, doing public relations and social media and video and all kinds of stuff. And in those couple of years, I really learned a ton about the industry. And I talked to debt collectors all day, every day. And I realized, oh, okay, I now have an education in this industry. There's no learning curve. I know how it works. I know what the pain points are of a debt collection agency owner in terms of sales and lead generation and marketing and websites, because I would talk to them all day, every day. And so, again, when I started my own business, I only had the one client who owned a debt collection agency. He had met me through this trade association and was like, when you go on your own, I'm going to be your first client. And sure enough, he was. So what I did with my LinkedIn profile, and this is the first really key thing you want to do, is really repurposing each part of it to appeal to a target audience. One simple place to do that, let me show you, is with your LinkedIn headline. So what you do is, most people, again, their LinkedIn headline is going to say something like, CEO, Nemo Media Group, or whatever. Or some people will try to be really clever with their LinkedIn headline and say lead generation ninja, or they'll try to write like a couple of long sentences, filled with hyperbole and, industry jargon and things like that. And what I have really found, doing this over the last 12 years, is that you want to have a LinkedIn headline that basically does two simple things. Part one is you talk about the service you provide in your LinkedIn headline. And the second part is you say who it's for. So service I provide, and then the target audience I serve. So if you look at my LinkedIn headline right now, it's super simple. I provide this service, done for you LinkedIn lead generation. That is the service I provide. Who do I provide it for? Small business owners and consultants. So that was the first key step, was a simple thing of changing my LinkedIn profile headline. And that's something you can do right now while we're talking. Again, just use that simple formula, the service I provide plus the target audiences that I serve. So I want to come back on live here, and I want to actually put this into practice. So your homework starts now. Type into the comments right now what you think your LinkedIn headline should be. So it would be the service you provide for 2 to 3 kind of target audiences. So for example, if I go back through here, we could look at let's say, like, so it could be, somebody might say executive coaching and leader. So Amy, it might be leadership development plus executive coaching for a couple of niche audiences. So try and do that. Put that into the comments right now, and I'm going to then pick on all of you. And thank you, Amy, for saying our boys are cute. I appreciate that. I can't write back on the LinkedIn comments for some reason while I'm streaming live. So I am seeing all the comments, but I can't react to them by writing. I can call them out. So put in the comments right now what you think your LinkedIn headline should be, instead of like CEO, blah, 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 or a bunch of hyperbole. Just a simple formula, the service you provide for a couple target audiences, because the riches are so in the niches with this. And I'm happy to give feedback as we do it. So, all right. So Joe is coming in here. Okay. So coaching, training, and consulting. Let me read all these. Okay. So now we got them flying in. Okay. So Nancy jumps in. Makes sales comfortable and profitable for service-based business owners. So again, for your LinkedIn, that's good for the about section, which we'll get to in a minute, Nancy. What I would say, and actually here, I'll put this up so people can see what we're talking about. Instead, it would be, if you're making sales comfortable, I assume maybe you're talking about like sales training or sales consulting. So your LinkedIn headline, like right below your name, would be sales training plus sales consulting for small business owners or service-based business owners. That would be the idea of this. Again, the LinkedIn profile, with your headline, you just want someone within 1 to 2 seconds to be like, oh, I get it. She does sales training for, service-based businesses. Okay, now I know if I want to accept Nancy's invite, if I want to read her content, because do I have a need for sales training? Do I have any interest in it? Am I already good? Am I the greatest salesman ever? Or do I struggle with it and feel uncomfortable with it? Boom, here we go. All right, so we'll show some more here. Okay, so Joseph, wow, we got a long one here. Okay. So that's for a LinkedIn headline, that's way too much, obviously. So let's break this down. So I would say, Maxwell, yeah, boy, you have a lot. Okay, so Joseph, I would have yours say something along the lines of sales plus leadership training & coaching for voluntary benefits industry. I like that you have a real hyper niche target audience. It would just be putting in 2 to 3 of those services. So whatever your biggest, if you want to promote the speaking, if you want to promote the coaching, if you want to promote sales training specifically, but it'll be like, sales training, coaching, and leadership development for the voluntary benefits industry, and then boom, done. Or keynote speaking. So so hopefully this is helping as we're kind of going through. Let's throw Manuel up here. Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, I mean, this isn't bad. Do you have a geographic focus, or is it small and medium-sized businesses anywhere, right? And business attorney, what type of specific business law do you practice? Is it contract law? Is it, financial law? There could be some more. You could get a little more nuance the more niche you can get. All right, Natasha, functional medicine doctor. Oh, this is interesting. Corporate wellness. I like corporate wellness consultant for sure. That jumps out to me as a good LinkedIn headline. Corporate wellness consultant for what type of businesses? Industrial, manufacturing. Is it for Charlotte, North Carolina based businesses? Right. So get as dialed in as you can on that, but solid job. And I'm looking at these cold, no prep. All right. Miranda hops in, architecting high impact teams, education and middle market. So that doesn't pass the Nemo's an idiot test. This is all knucklehead, there's gray hair and gray matter and knucklehead level in here, Miranda. What do you actually do and who's it for? So architecting, does that architecting high impact teams, does that mean you come in and build teams in a company? Are you already in a company? Are you how do you build teams? Do you coach? Do you consult? Middle markets, I don't know what that means. Education, is that like the education industry at colleges, universities? So the idea would be, again, like how LinkedIn would define the service or how an idiot like me could understand what the service is. So hopefully that's helpful. And let's go through a few more before we keep going on the training. Renovation loan specialist and old. Yeah. So discerning South Floridians doesn't really sound like a target audience that's easy to market to on LinkedIn. So then again, I'm just thinking out loud. Take all this with a grain of salt. I'm very blunt. I hope that's okay. I'm not here to hopefully offend anybody, but I know Straight Talk Express when I'm talking, consulting here. Old house expert. I don't know what that means. Would it be like home construction, home architecture, loan specialist? I get. You help people get loans. South Florida business owners, South Florida homeowners. Okay. So we'll keep going. So if this was a LinkedIn headline under your name, Amy, it would just be a mouthful. It would be so much for my brain to process. So that's why I like just a couple words. So if we try to trim it down, and again, these are good. These are like the benefits based, and a lot of people are sending in headlines like this. This will be good in the about section, which we'll get to in a minute. But for the LinkedIn headline, this is where we really got to just narrow it to ultra simple 1 to 2 second processing. So it would be, executive coaching and leadership development for these types of businesses. Okay. All right. Let's see how the other Amy is doing. Becca's pal, accounting, tax, advisory. Solid. Very solid. Very solid. I can't rip on you, Amy. Sorry. That's pretty darn good. Accounting. You could, if you want to, and I'll show an example in a minute, if you want to get more niched into the audience instead of just service-based businesses. Yeah, we've got more. Okay, but there's a ton more. I can't get to all of them because I want to keep going. Donald says, I'm from up north. Of course, you're blunt. I'm from Minnesota. We literally, our state slogan, Donald, is passive aggressive. So I should be doing, I in spirit, I'm from the East Coast because I'm just straightforward. Minnesota drives me nuts because everybody here is passive aggressive. If I was doing this as a Minnesotan, I would say, well, Donald, I guess that's one way to do a profile. There's a little passive aggressive. I have a t-shirt. I should have worn it today. I have a t-shirt that says, it has the Minnesota state outline and it says passive aggressive. Actually, this will be fun. I think everybody should know the t-shirt I'm wearing today, I think, is very appropriate for this audience. Here, let me. World's best farter. I mean, father. This is me. You're getting my son got this for me. My high school kid. He knows his dad well. All right. I'm having way too much fun. I'm sorry. It's Friday. Okay. So now I want to dive into more training because I know we're going to run out of time, but great job on the exercise. I want to focus next. I'm going to take a deeper dive into creating this client attracting profile and really helping you understand what goes into the about section and some of the other areas. And I'm going to use an example of a fractional CFO, an accountant, a bookkeeper, a CPA named Catherine Bishop, walking through kind of how we took her profile, what we did, and what the outcome was. And you're going to see the results, how you can apply the same thing. So without further ado, let's jump into Catherine's story. Illustrate this really quick with a client of ours, Catherine Bishop. And I love Catherine's story. Literally within 90 days of starting working with me on Done For You LinkedIn Lead Gen, she told me to turn off the campaigns. She's like, stop. I've got too many leads. I got too many clients. This is working too good. Turn it off, which of course is the greatest problem ever. The great part about Catherine's story is her husband actually ended up quitting his day job to come work for her. Right. And 2 years after we stopped working with her, she's still getting new clients. Obviously, the headline is key. And when you look at Catherine's, again, the riches are really in the niches with LinkedIn. So for her, instead of saying Catherine Bishop, CEO, BlackBerry Accounting, or, the business name or whatever it was, or Catherine Bishop, just accountant, I niched it to a certain industry, construction, accounting, and bookkeeping. That's the service and the audience. Construction, payroll, and taxes. That's a service and an audience, right? Tax prep and planning. And notice the visuals. I put in little kind of construction related emojis to really help it, pop visually so she could see, or when a client looked at it, they could see, oh, okay, this is what she does. This is familiar to me. Even her LinkedIn background header that I made for her years ago was a construction job site with the words, right, of the service: construction, accounting, bookkeeping, payroll, and more. So again, think about this, how the riches are really in the niches with a profile. She's all about this targeted niche audience of construction companies, contractors, etc. And the reason it works so well is because of her story. And that's what I want to get into here with the next part of the profile, is really explaining what makes you unique, different, and better, and why a certain audience is going to resonate with you. And now I know one key thing people always bring up is, well, wait, I'm hearing you say the riches are in the niches with LinkedIn, but I don't want to niche myself too much. I can be everything to everybody. Everyone needs an accountant, right? And this is a good example with Catherine. She does accounting for everyone. Like, she can do it for any type of business. Accounting practices and principles are the same, right? In general, tax strategies, saving strategies are the same, even across a niche of small business owners, right? So why would I niche her so much to construction, accounting, and bookkeeping? Isn't she leaving money on the table, right? Isn't this a bad thing if we niche her too much? Well, if you ask her, no, right? Like, she has so much business in this one niche. Her husband quit his job to come work for her. She's still getting clients 2 years after not, stopping with us because she had too much business already. The riches are in the niches. And if you just use LinkedIn to really appeal to one or two, maybe three target audiences to really stand out, you can be a big fish in a small pond. So let me explain to you how this actually works and how you can apply it to your profile right now. So as I mentioned, I niched Catherine to the construction audience because of her story. So, I put a lot of it in her actual profile, but again, where she talks about her story, let me get to it. Her dad was a contractor, right? So her dad was a contractor growing up. Her mom was a CPA, match made in heaven. But literally, she had to be on the job sites every weekend for her dad at 8 a.m. So every Saturday, 8 a.m. growing up, that was her place. She had to be on the job site, picking up nails, carrying boards, whatever, helping her dad with his construction business. She literally grew up in the industry. She grew up working in her family's construction business. So if you own a construction business, if you are a contractor, if you are a home builder, how cool is it to know that your accountant literally grew up in the industry and worked for her dad? And oh, by the way, her mom was a CPA that did the books for her dad's business. Now, you want to convey all that in a way that really appeals to your target audience. So let's walk through what that looks like. So the first sentence of your about section on your LinkedIn profile, this is what I love to use. And write this down, take a screenshot, whatever you want to do. use all capitals to say what I do. And the reason I like all capitals is when we read on LinkedIn, we go up and down very fast, right? So again, you want to have your text stop the scroll and stand out. You're going to do that with these capital phrases like what we do, where you've seen us, and emojis. You can see the emojis here that really pop and show, some different things to illustrate people talking, whatever. But you'll see as you scroll up and down, a lot of white space in some of these all capital letters. So the first line, you want to say what I do, or if you're representing a company, what we do. And then I want you to use this kind of fill in the blank template. What I do, I help your target audience, right, achieve their goal, something they want, by providing my product or service. So it's very simple. For me, I help small business owners and consultants generate leads on LinkedIn and get quality clients by providing done-for-you LinkedIn lead gen, right? Very simple thing. The next part, and again, you can use this template. You can rearrange these sections depending on what stands out most about you. So for example, if you have a bunch of big name clients, a bunch of accolades, a bunch of media credits, then use that. So for example, on mine, right, I've been featured in a bunch of big name publications that will resonate with my target audience. So I'm putting that up high, where you've seen us or where you've seen me, Business Insider, New York Times, etc. Or if you've got great client testimonials, you're going to say what clients say, and you're going to put those up high. Now, it depends on your business and what makes you unique, different, and better. So again, with Catherine, she didn't necessarily have a bunch of big name clients or media accolades, so we skipped that. But what she did have was something that made her really unique. So again, this is a fill in the blank. What makes me unique? You explain that. She said, I've got big firm experience working at Deloitte and Duke Energy, which, obviously huge companies, especially in the South. She lives in North Carolina, so everyone knows. Obviously, Deloitte is, international, but Duke Energy is big there, where I implemented projects that saved the company $300 million. Okay. Oh, wow. So at a very big level, she worked on projects that saved, big companies hundreds of millions of dollars. I've even taught accounting at the college level, and I have a CPA and a master's. So right there, you're saying that makes her different than a lot of everyday accountants as she's worked for these big companies. So again, what makes you unique, different, and better? And then we talked about the story, industry experience. And again, notice the unique kind of construction themed emojis to help visually have it pop. And again, you tell the story, grew up on the contractor sites. As a result, why does this matter? I really have expertise around the unique, industry challenges. It was the same thing for me with the debt collectors. When I first started marketing myself on LinkedIn, I was saying, listen, debt collection agency marketing services, what makes me unique? Having spent 2 years working for the largest trade association in the debt collection industry, I have unparalleled insight into and understanding of the unique challenges debt collection agencies face. And that instantly built trust and rapport because, again, a prospect wants to feel like you've walked in their shoes. So some of the other, elements that you can put into your profile, let's keep going, where you've seen my work. So if you have big name clients, you can list them out and use unique emojis. You can also talk about what makes you unique, which we talked about there. Again, I'm using examples here. Services I provide. So I like listing out the services you provide, again, as a bullet list. And these are services that your clients are interested in. So again, maybe if you're in accounting and CPA, you can say these things: accounts payable and receivable, cash flow analysis, financial reviews, whatever. For Catherine, we did it very construction themed, right? So construction accounting, bookkeeping, construction cost control, and job costing. You know what your clients are looking for in terms of services, so you can put it in there. Again, problems I solve, you can even try that. Time management challenges or dysfunctional dynamics. Like, you can list out these bullet lists of items of what you do, the problems you solve. Maybe you want to say benefits my clients realize. So that can be where you talk about these are the benefits they realize. If you're a coach or a consultant, that works with teams and companies, right? Increase this, increase that. Words like increased or improved are great, right? And then an actual tangible benefit, right? Increased productivity, increased profitability. Use that. So who I work with, this is another one. You can then list out the types of audiences. And these are just examples from client profiles that I've rewritten, but you can see how clear cut this is. If I'm scanning up and down, this isn't a resume. This isn't you talking in a third person. It's, oh, okay, this is what they do. This is who they work with. I can self-identify. If I'm a property manager and I see that you work with property managers, I immediately trust you more and you have more credibility because, oh, good, you work with people just like me, right? Or industries I work in, right? You can say, these are the industries I serve and what I do. For client testimonials, put a few of those in, have it say what others say, and just paste that in and use a little talking emoji. It's super important. I see this a lot with testimonials. Use the full name and the company name so that people can actually verify it's a real human. Don't just put like Catherine, accountant, because you can be making that up. So use a real name and then just a simple little call to action, ready to talk, here's where to connect, all that good stuff. So again, this all goes in your about section, and then your experience section. You can see what a difference that makes scanning up and down, being able to see. You can also put in a section, my story, kind of a quick little story, ready to talk. One thing I would really recommend is in your experience section, being able to list multiple audiences. So this is something where, again, you've got your company here, and then you're going to have positions. So for me, because I use, different multiple audiences, I've got one experience or position listing for small business owners. I've got another one for consultants and business coaches. It's the same service, but I'm just niching it more to those audiences. So in this one, it's all about small business owners. In this one, it's all about coaches and consultants with specific examples, testimonials, and services for those audiences. This one's for franchise consultants. This one, might be for whatever else. So again, under your experience section, this is how you can hit multiple audiences. You can have, one listing for small business, one listing for consultants. Again, it's the same service in each one, but it's different audiences, different examples, different testimonials. And you, again, find that under experience. Just keep adding positions and you can keep creating that. And that's really what goes into having this client-facing profile where now when people look at it, they immediately know from looking at your headline and your about section, what's in it for me? What does this person do? Do they work with people like me? What services do they provide? Would I even want to connect with them? All of that, goes through a prospect's mind, and you want to answer that question for them up front. So there you go. That's a quick look at profiles. I got more to share with you here in a second. All right, this guy's killing it. Big fan of this guy. This presentation's awesome. All right. So tell me in the comments if you want more. Type in more. I need validation. I'm very insecure. That's why I'm wearing a world's best farter t-shirt. I think it's funny. My wife hates it. Sarah, my wife, will be mortified that I went on the internet in front of other professionals with a world's best farter t-shirt. I think it's funny. We'll see if it works or not. Put in the comments if you want more. I've got a lot more training, and I know we've got about half an hour left. I see Joseph said, check out my about section. I followed your formula. That's awesome. I will do that. What I want to do at the end is have a live Q&A where I'll share my screen and go on your profiles and give feedback. For now, I want to pack in as much training as I can. So Donald says more. All right. Nancy is more in all caps. Manuel is more. Joe says more. Glory. Yes. All right. Good. I'm glad you guys are finding this helpful. I feel validated. I feel affirmed. All right, let's keep going because I've got a little bit more I want to show you with profiles. And then I want to get into really the nuance of engaging your ideal prospects on LinkedIn, how to do that, what to say, how to get, your ideal prospects to start those conversations with you on LinkedIn that are going to lead to those 5- and 6-figure engagements. So without further ado, let's dive into this next section. And again, as we go, if you have questions, comments, whatever, you need help, put that in there in the comments. Becca can respond. I can also, put stuff up on the screen. So let me hop off camera a little bit and show you some more training, and then let's dive in. I want to show you just a real quick trick with our friend ChatGPT for your profile page. So, if you're like, I don't know how to pick out the right emojis and how do I get the right ones and how do I do it tastefully and how do I make sure all this looks good, go into ChatGPT and put in a bullet list. So in this case, basically, let's say these are different types of companies I work with, whatever my service is. And you just have a simple prompt for the bullet list below, insert a unique emoji related to each item it describes. And then you just hit submit and it will spit the list back out and it'll instantly have kind of tasteful emojis, right? So builders, construction, hospitals, business coaches. Now, maybe you don't like that one, so you can tell it to change it, financial planners or banks. So again, you can say, let's go down here and say, I don't like the one for business coaches. Show one with a person. And then it'll try again, right? And then it'll put one in front of, a coach, someone teaching. And then if you're still not sure, what you can do is you can say, give me a list of business-related emojis. And it'll just spit out a ton of them, and then you can copy and paste them. So this is another tip for you where it'll literally say, okay, here's any and all emojis related to business. So then, like, if you're doing something about increased profitability, you can grab that. Or if you want to say consulting, you can get a briefcase, right? So again, you can get ideas from AI to quickly kind of help you organize some of these lists. So we've talked a lot about your LinkedIn profile, and I can go much deeper on that. In fact, here, let me show you a new window. If you want, I have multiple free books on this. So again, just go to nemomediagroup.com and you can actually get the Ultimate LinkedIn Profile Template. That's everything I was showing today. You can actually get a copy of any of my books, right? I've got one for business coaches, franchise consultants. LinkedIn Riches is for small business owners and everyone else. Just click on one of the images and then you can download the free template if you want to go deeper. I don't want to do it all on this call, obviously. If you want fashion advice, I'm here to help. Zuba's pants for life, right? Minnesota Vikings are going all the way. This is our year. Don't stop me. Okay, sorry, I'm getting distracted. So let me come back. Again, if you want more tips, just go to nemomediagroup.com and you can grab more free resources. They're just here on the homepage. So when we talk about LinkedIn, obviously starting with your profile, and we've touched on that. Once that's ready, really all the money on LinkedIn is in the mailbox. This is one of the great things that you're going to feel good about after being on this webinar, is that you don't have to do everything else. LinkedIn has all these different features and all these different things. And I know there's 1,000,001 gurus that are going to tell you, okay, you need to publish 700 pieces of content a day, and you need to go in and comment on everyone's posts, and you need to spend 4 hours a day, liking things and blah, 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 blah. And I'm here to tell you, having done this since 2012, let me just check. I have done this since 2012. I've seen every feature possible on LinkedIn that they've added. You need to, go in and you need to write this many articles, and you need to do short form videos, and you need to do, this and that and this and that. And it's like, I'm just going to tell you, all you need to do is one-on-one messaging. If you want clients, if you want business on LinkedIn, all you need to do is one-on-one messaging. All the money is in the mailbox. So with that said, obviously you need to know who to send your one-on-one messages to. And again, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on how to find your leads on LinkedIn. That could be a whole training in itself. I recommend that you get Sales Navigator, which is an add-on premium product. And then you can go in and you can build lists of all your ideal leads. So you can literally go in and you can tell LinkedIn, I want people, who have this type of job or this job title or this seniority level. They've been in this role for this many years. Even they've recently changed jobs. They've recently posted anything and everything. They went to this school, there's so many different filters. So it's not hard. It's not a problem to find prospects on LinkedIn. There's over 1 billion people on here. Now you can use the basic search and you get some good filters if you want to start there. I really recommend Sales Navigator. I don't get any stock or any kickbacks. If you're serious about it, and this is what we use for our clients, I would definitely use that. And then again, once you have lists of prospects, you're just going to reach out one-on-one with messages. And I want to spend a lot of time now talking about what goes into a good one-on-one LinkedIn message. This is it. This is the whole package in one simple sentence. The simple secret to generate leads on LinkedIn is you craft a client-attracting profile, which we've covered, and then you use personalized one-on-one outreach that puts the real-life you into the engagement. So I'm going to show you that next. The final part is also offering some free content that will demonstrate your expertise and helps people get to know, like, and trust you. I'll cover that in a minute. Right now, I want to talk about the one-on-one outreach because we've covered all the different ways you can do it. And I want to explain now, what do you actually put into a one-on-one message and in-mail, etc. So I use this example. Let's say one of the clients we work a lot of times with is franchise consultants. So that's a niche audience here on LinkedIn. They use us for done-for-you LinkedIn lead generation. So what am I going to say to a franchise consultant on LinkedIn to get them to talk to me? Because we know everyone's getting inundated with messages and offers and spam and all that stuff. So first, I'll obviously build a list of franchise consultants, and then I will send literally one sentence, one line. I'll say, hey, name of consultant, can I send you a free digital copy of my book, LinkedIn Lead Gen for Franchise Consultants? And what that is I literally have an ebook I made just for franchise consultants on how they can use LinkedIn. And the whole point of this is I want to demonstrate expertise and show franchise consultants, hey, if you want to use LinkedIn to get leads, I literally wrote a book on it. Like, you can have it for free. So what I do is I literally just offer that as one sentence. Now, I don't do a bunch of personalizing in the first message. The simple reason is, and I know, a lot of people will say to you, well, listen, John, the best thing you can do on LinkedIn is go look at the person's profile and put a bunch of personal commentary in there, talk about, oh, I see you live in Minneapolis and I see, you work here and you went to this school, and all of that is great, by the way. Talk about where I went to college and, high school and, different things I volunteered at. Those are all great, but you don't want to do that first. The reason being, if you reach out to a prospect on LinkedIn and you do all that extra work to hyper personalize your messaging and say, hey, I was looking at your profile. I see you live in Minneapolis. I see you went to this university. Do you still follow the sports team? Hey, it's really cool that you volunteer there. I do that too. I see you live here. How's the weather? All of that's great, and all of that will get people to respond to you. But what if they're not a prospect? What if they don't need your service? What if they're not looking right now? What if they don't want to buy? As my brother-in-law, who's a great salesman, taught me years ago, he's like, I don't need more friends. I need more clients, right? So you can make friends and do all that, but it's going to take so much time. So what I do, my first message is a qualifier. It is kind of generic, right? But it basically is qualifying them. Can I send you a free digital copy of this free piece of content? Or I'll say, hey, insert their name. Can I send you my best free tips on blank, which is something they would want. So my best free tips on how this target audience can get a benefit they want. So really the one sentence message that you start with is, hey, can I send you my best free tips on blank? Or can I send you this free content I've created that helps you get this outcome? You're wanting to use these messages to qualify. Think about this. If someone says yes, they're interested in the content, now I know they're a lead. Because if they're saying, yeah, I want to know more about how to use LinkedIn to get leads as a franchise consultant, guess what I do? I help franchise consultants get leads. Or if they say, yes, I am interested in tips on how to do ABC, since you provide that service behind those tips, now you know they're interested. That's when I go deeper. So then I'll follow up and say, hey, great, here's a link to the free content. And then I'll say also, unless LinkedIn is misleading me, because again, sometimes people have things listed wrong on their profiles. I always just cover my bases and say, unless LinkedIn is misleading me, it looks like you live in Chicago, and then I'm a sports guy, so I joke, my apologies in advance if you're a Chicago Bears football fan, right? And now I love sports, so I'm going to gravitate toward that, but there's plenty of other things you can do. You can see, hey, here's the free content. Also, I see you live in Chicago. I'm planning a trip there with my family. Just be a real person. What would you say in real life if you met someone from Chicago? What would you ask them? What would you comment about? Would it be the weather, the sports teams, the museums, the universities? You'd have something to say to them. How do you like living in the Midwest? Now, you do that when you know they're interested. So part one of the messaging is, are you even interested in this topic? Do you even want tips on it? Is it even something on your radar? Because you'll have people write back and they're like, actually, I'm retired. I don't use LinkedIn anymore. Well, that's great. That's fine. I can take you off of my list. I don't need to follow up. And again, I didn't spend all the time personalizing the outreach. Now, if this person writes back and says, yes, send over the tips, then I'm going to go look at their profile and I'm going to be able to instantly add some icebreakers. The other thing that we do for clients that I would definitely recommend you do is track all your messaging. So the fortune is really in the follow-up. We create Google Sheets where we track every conversation. So these are all people that I'm talking to on LinkedIn, first name, last name, what their job title is, what campaign they responded to. So I know, oh, I did a campaign offering a case study about this. They responded yes, or they responded yes, they're interested in the book. And then we timestamp everything in terms of, did we offer to book a call? Did we follow up? The fortune's in the follow up. So for example, if I offer someone a free book and then they say, yes, send it over, I'm going to make sure that I follow up here to see what they thought of the book. And not just once, but I'm going to space out the follow-ups every couple days, whatever. And if they say to me, yeah, I'm going to get to the book on Monday, I'll make a note in here and I'll follow up Monday and I'll say, hey, did you have a chance to check out my book over the weekend, or did Netflix get in the way? Haha, like you do a personal follow-up. Because once someone responds, now you can start having a conversation. Yeah, I loved your book. And then you say, well, what resonated? What did you find helpful? I really like the part about changing the profile. I really need to do that. I'm so embarrassed by my profile. It does read like a resume. Ugh. And then I can say, oh, that's so great. I totally can relate. I'm so glad you found that helpful. Well, do you want more advice on how to do that? Did you know we actually rewrite profiles for you? How can we help? Do you want a course on it? And then that's where you can kind of move people into a sales conversation. So again, we track every single engagement, comments, right? What did they say? I'll give you an example of one for a client, just so you can see, these are all people that we're talking to. These are the campaigns, color coded, right? Which event, which message, did we follow up? Did they book a call? Having a second call, talking to them, do they know them, blah, blah, blah. And then obviously we're pulling emails and phone numbers too, because you can do a warm phone call or a warm email, because you can say, hey, I know we've been bantering on LinkedIn. I thought it might just be easier to call you or email you directly, with the whatever you were looking for. So again, the messaging is very simple. Step one is you really just want to qualify them and you want to offer some sort of free content. And then step two is if they say yes, they're interested in the topic or the tips, you deliver the content and you start personalizing the message. In this next section, I want to talk a little bit about how to actually create the type of content that we're talking about here in terms of what people really want, what works well on LinkedIn to get people saying, yes, I want to read that or see that. All right, so I'm back. There's been a lot of comments coming in. So here's the deal. I got to start with the most important comment so far. This is blasphemy. Victor the Viking and I are not going to stand for this, Joseph Walsh. Victor, what do you have to say? I agree. We're winning the Super Bowl. It's our turn. We've been waiting since 1961. I'm an obsessed Minnesota Vikings fan. All right. A couple other quick questions, and I want to get to more of the training here before we're out of time. For Manuel, any thoughts about how to cold DM prospects without breaking ethics rules? Yeah, so that's your world of attorneys and certain financial planners and things. You have all these rules and all these regulations. I'm not about to act like an attorney, get the pun, here on a live stream and say do this or do that. It would really depend on your interpretation or your ethics rules. Bummer, Robert. Tell those pesky clients to stop bothering you, man. Yes, I'm hoping to have a replay. Tech gods willing. All right, so that's nice, Nancy. I'm glad that you can attest to that. That's awesome. Look at this. Now, all of a sudden, we got all the football fans in here. All right, look at the Eagles. It's all NFC Central. The Pack. No Pack, no. No Pack, no. Not go Pack, go. All right, we're getting off track. The NFL draft just stopped. All right, so my apologies. All right, I want to make sure we get this last section in. It's so powerful. Now, if you have questions, I want to make sure to, if you need help, email us, okay? If you want to explore, before we get to this next section, I want to just make sure I put this out there. If you want to explore our done-for-you services, done-with-you services, online courses, advice, tips, more strategy, just send an email to john@nemomediagroup.com, john@nemomediagroup.com, and basically just put in the subject line what you're looking for, like more help or, services or whatever. And then either myself or Becca or someone on our team will get back to you and be like, yeah, if you're looking for more free tips based on what you do, here's an ebook or a video or whatever. Or if you're like, yeah, what does it look like to have you guys help me with LinkedIn? Then we can, start that conversation, share resources, all that good stuff. So I just want to put that out there, for anyone that wants to explore more, just send an email. That's the fastest, easiest way to get in touch with us. And it goes right to me and Becca, John@nemomediagroup.com. So without further ado, I want to make sure we tackle this last section, and then I'm going to stick around for live Q&A, give you feedback on your profile, anything you want like that. But this section is critical because it really talks about content. To this point, we've really built up this kind of simple stages of client attracting profile, reach out to your ideal prospects one-on-one, the money's in the mailbox. Now, what do you give them? What's the content? Do you do a million status updates, a bunch of videos, webinars, podcasts? I'm going to show you the one piece of content to rule them all to get a little Lord of the Rings reference in there. So in this section, I'm really going to show you what I've discovered having done this since 2012 for countless, consultants, coaches, small business owners, for myself, small business owners, service providers. This piece of content works better than anything else I've tried on LinkedIn over the years to get people engaged, to warm them up, to get them to know, like, and trust you, to have them go from kind of stranger to prospect to client. So without further ado, let's dive into what that is. Yeah, should it be, a blog post? Should it be a newsletter? And here's the thing, I've done all of that. We've done it all for myself and for my clients over the last 12 years, done for you podcasts, YouTube channels, videos, webinars, blogs, articles, you name it, right? I have found time and again across every vertical, every industry, the number one thing that gets the most yes replies on one-on-one LinkedIn messages, far and away, right now, and it's been that way for multiple years, is ebooks. And when I say ebook, this is what I mean. It's basically a PDF that is really well written and designed that tells your story and demonstrates expertise. So again, this is an example of Jim, a franchise consultant we work with, what it really takes to succeed in franchise ownership. So this was free content that he offered to corporate executives who were curious about franchising. And it starts with Jim's story, right? Like many great entrepreneurial journeys, mine started with some late night pizza, right? And he talks about his corporate career, and you've got real authentic photos of him. That's the other thing. You want these ebooks to be you, not stock art, not stock images, but the real life you, telling your story, but then also demonstrating expertise. So another example is Carrie Ann Golliver, another franchise consultant we've worked with, where she's going to tell you her story. Here's a guide to navigating, the investment opportunities with franchise consultants. And again, tell your story. So Carrie Ann's ebook starts with, I figured my brother-in-law just had too much wine during dinner. Instead, the phrase he blurted out changed my life. Whoa, what's going on, right? So tell a great story, explain, what happened, tell some tales from the trenches, and then really, help people understand who you are, what you do, why you're the expert at this, and then how and what they can learn from it. And so we've done this across so many different industries, executive presence, sales trainings, right? Female executives, for coaches, leadership ebook. This is one of my favorites. Just the cover is so cool that our designer did. Business and personal growth examples. And again, having great storytelling. Now, these are all ebooks I've written for clients, but you get the idea, right? My career started with a lie. I was 17 years old, boom, whoa, like you got to hook people with a good story. And then again, use real authentic photos, and then demonstrate expertise, leadership principles, leadership lessons, etc. Now, you can also do case studies. You can, do how-to books, like how to make your law firm profitable and fulfilling, right? This is a coach for, attorneys and law firm owners, all about placing you as an expert. So here's another example where we've got a client that does, luxury homes in Arizona. So guess what? We're going to showcase that, but we're also going to niche it to a target audience. So in this case, we're saying it's for out-of-state realtors, the out-of-state realtors guide to high-end home design. Because you think about people, in the Midwest or East Coast or, wherever they want to build a luxury home in Arizona, they're going to go to their local real estate agent and say, do you know anyone? How do I build a home in Arizona? The idea now with LinkedIn and this client is they're going to use LinkedIn. They're going to reach out to high-end realtors around the country and offer this free ebook. Hey, do you have any, clients that are interested in building a home in Arizona, a vacation home, a second home, whatever? If so, we're happy to share this ebook we put together that gives you all these tips. And again, this ebook goes into depth and shares their process and shares their tips. And then it also shares the story of this company and how they have become, this leader in building homes. So again, That's why I love ebooks is, again, it can be on any topic, real estate. It can be super niched to your audience. Again, we've done them for everything you can think of, right? Investing, attorneys, retirement planning, 1031 exchanges. Listen, if I can write ebooks about 1031 exchanges, anything is possible. A great ebook is going to do two things. It's going to tell your story so that people get to know, like, and trust you. And it's going to demonstrate expertise so they actually can walk away from it going, oh, okay, well, if I did want to explore franchise ownership, I actually got some tips in here of what to look for and how to do it and everything else. And again, that's the same thing I'm doing with my ebooks when I say to people, hey, do you want a free copy of my book, LinkedIn Riches? It's all about how, small business owners can use LinkedIn, and I'll send you a free digital copy. And what you're going to see is, again, these are the types of replies I get on LinkedIn. They read your book. You did a great job with the book. I want to talk to you. Please send me your calendar and set up a Zoom. Here's why this works. Think about this. If you contact someone on LinkedIn, and again, your first message isn't, I want to meet with you. It isn't a sales pitch. It's, can I offer you some free tips? Can I offer you some free content aimed at solving a problem you have? And they say yes. And if your content delivers on that promise, if it actually does a good job educating them, showing them how to do something, helping them understand how to solve a problem, and it tells your story, and they get to know, like, and trust you because they relate to your story, your journey, your tales from the trenches. Now, by the time they actually get on the phone with you or do a Zoom with you, they've gone through, a 3, 5, 10,000 word ebook all about you. They've already kind of warmed themselves up. They already come in feeling like they know, like, and trust you. And that's why it's so important to qualify prospects with content, because again, it makes your job much easier than, well, okay, we connected on LinkedIn and I booked a call, and who are you and what do you do and what makes you unique and different and why would I listen to you and do you even know what you're doing? Have you worked with people like me? Blah, 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 blah. All of that can be answered in that content. So again, that's the one piece of content that you need. You just do it over and over and over again. You take the same ebook and you just offer it again and again and again to prospects on LinkedIn. The beautiful thing about this I love is you don't have to create 50 status updates every day, and you don't have to do, short form videos every day, and you don't have to publish 100 blog posts and all this. You just need one good piece of content that people will be able to read and consume that really helps illustrate who you are, what you do, and why you're good at it. And then you just follow up with them until they read it and go through it. And then they're like, yeah, this is really good. It really resonated. I'd love to see how you could help me with the same thing. So I hope that comes as a relief that you don't have to do all this. Again, if you are publishing tons of content on LinkedIn, and I publish lots of stuff, newsletters, articles, videos, all kinds of stuff. It doesn't hurt you one bit. None of this will hurt you. It's just a lot of work, and it doesn't lead directly to paying clients. Even my own stuff, I publish all the content because it's just good to have awareness and be visible and be out there. But what moves the needle, even for me to this day, is one-on-one messaging. Period. End of story. So that's really what I want to drive home. And as we finish up, I want to just say the 3 key things, if I go back to, my own advice on the secret sauce, it's simply step 1 is having a client-facing profile. And I've given you some tips on how to do that. There's more resources. Step 2 is finding your prospects and doing that one-on-one messaging with that simple kind of one-line, one-sentence thing where you basically say, do you want these free tips? And then offering some sort of free content that demonstrates your expertise and helps people get to know, like, and trust you. If you do that, if you just do the simple 3 steps in here, you're going to have more business than you know what to do with. And you can wear a popcorn bucket on your head if you want bonus points, right? But I hope that gets you fired up. I hope that gets you inspired to really look at LinkedIn differently, to understand what's possible. And most importantly, to go back to the premise of this whole thing, it's going to help you generate leads on LinkedIn without having to be spammy, irritating, or annoying. Because again, you're not doing anything that would irritate people. All you're doing is you're reaching out to people one-on-one, you're offering content in one sentence, you're asking permission. Notice in these messages, I'm not including the ebook. I'm not assuming the person wants the ebook. I didn't include the PDF. I didn't include a download link. I asked permission so they can just very politely say, no thanks, not for me, not interested, I'm retired, whatever. Nobody ever gets mad at this. No one's getting mad at this one line of, oh, you want to send me free tips? How dare you, right? Like, There's nothing about this that is going to be spammy or pushy or sleazy. Or again, you're not asking for anything. You're not asking for an appointment. You're not asking for them to fill out anything. You're just simply saying, are you interested in this topic? Can I send you tips? If they say yes, then you nurture it along, move it forward. So I hope that fires you up. I would love to hear your thoughts on all this. And yeah, we'll go from there. All right, I love it. I love it. I'm back. So I want to follow Amy's lead, Amy with the letters. If you want to explore having us help you, just type the word help in the comments right now. Just type help. And that, that way we know, like, okay, directly we can reach out to you on LinkedIn to see how we can help you with whether it's exploring done for you, done with you, if you just want some of our free resources, whatever it might be. That might be easier than emailing me. If you're on LinkedIn right now, just type the word help in the comments where you're watching this. And then Becca or someone else on our team can reach out to you and be like, hey, we saw your comment on the live stream. How can we help? Are you looking for this, that, whatever? That would be a great way for us to get connected with you. So again, just type help in the comments. I'll also put up my email one more time if that's easier, if you have email open, if you're on a couple screens, john@nemomediagroup.com. Now I would love to answer questions. So if you also have questions besides typing help in the comments, if you want to have us, explore helping you out with your LinkedIn, I'm happy to answer questions. So pick this brain. If you want to know, more feedback. I know there were some questions earlier about, with Manuel, with the ethics. I think we talked about that. I'm trying to think if there are any other ones. If you want me to look at your profile, anything like that. And also Becca's sharing the free resources. And actually, while I'm thinking of it, I will also share a little bit more. Share screen. Hopefully I don't break anything. All right. So I'm going to share this page. All right, so it should be, hopefully it's showing. Hopefully you can see my screen. This is the Nemo Media Group website. If you go here under free is all the free content, the books, live trainings, podcasts. And then under work with us is the done for you page. So if you want to explore having us, help you, basically I walk through on this page our LinkedIn Authority Advantage program. This is our full service agency. This is kind of, who we work with in terms of, where you might fit in as far as, the different folks. Basically anyone who's not part of a big corporate conglomerate, we've had a lot of success with. So coaches, consultants, small business owners, consultants in certain, specialized niche industries as well, service-based businesses we've done a lot with. And again, we've got a ton here about what makes our approach unique, different, and better, as opposed to your traditional LinkedIn lead generation outreach. Best of all, we've actually helped real people get, $100,000 in new clients. So you can go through all this. We've got some really well-known people like Bob Berg we've worked with, John Lee Dumas. We've got an ROI calculator. It saves you an average of about 226 hours a month having us do your LinkedIn lead gen. You get a team of 4 to 6 people working with you. So again, you can go through this at your leisure. It's a really deep dive into our whole approach. Lots of testimonials. We just added a new one today from a service provider. Where is he? Jason just popped in. Yeah. So we've got so many on this page. This is what's been really fun, is having done this since 2012, learning and working with so many different people across so many different niches. We've really figured out, what works on LinkedIn, what doesn't. And what I've outlined for you today, honestly, is it. It's not rocket science. So let me make sure I come back here. Stop the sharing. Okay. So, all right. Darlene is saying help. We got you. Becca or someone else on our team will definitely reach out to you, or I will reach out on LinkedIn. Let's see. A couple more questions are coming in. All right. So Nancy says, I found people are reluctant to read. What other lead magnets do you suggest? So that's a good question. So I've actually got a good one that we use. Some short kind of walkthrough videos, depending on what you're doing, can work really well. So I'll show you an example of what we do here. Let me share my screen again for Nancy and everybody else. Short videos can work well. And what I have found is a short case study type video can work really well. So basically, I have a landing page here where we talk about, hey, this is our, niche specific, what we've done, walk through examples for, this audience, right? And so for you, Nancy, it might be the same thing with your sales training of a walkthrough video of your best tips or of, some client stories, right? And we've got some case studies here. But then I just have, a video here where I'm going to walk through, a case study, an example with Catherine Bishop and, how we do things. So walkthrough videos are great of you on screen showing people things. Those can work really well. If you have, some training or insights or tips, video can work really well. Again, if it's niched, if it's relevant, that's what matters. If it's going to help them solve a core problem. I've seen videos work well too. Shorter, action-packed walkthrough specific to that audience is good. So stop the sharing. Let's hop back. All right. So Manuel wants some feedback on his profile. Let's see if I can pull that up. All right. Shoot, I can't copy paste. Whoops. Now I just lost my page. All right. Let me see if I can pull that up and then give you some feedback, my friend. So again, one of the key things, if you want to try to do this yourself, okay, I got you, Manuel. I'm going to share your screen here. Is understanding you can get those free resources from our site, which are, really helpful. So let me give you a little free consulting here. All right, man. Well, you're on the hot seat, baby. All right. So, okay, Google 5-star. So you get some nice social proof in the header. Some of the clients that have trusted me. That's nice. This is good social proof. Attorney for small and mid-sized businesses. I would maybe sharpen that up to like what type of law, like contract law, like if there's a more niched version of attorney. And small, mid-size, yeah, I mean, I can see you've got kind of a lot of different industries here. So maybe that's what you need to stay with. Okay. And then you've got business attorney for small, mid-sized, soft landing. I don't know what that means. If that's a term your audience is familiar with. Corporate litigation services. Okay. Corporate and yeah. I mean, this is solid. This isn't bad at all. I know within 1 second who you work with, companies in Mexico, and that you're a business attorney. Okay. And then you've also got, yeah, this looks good. I don't like the red dot because that to me says stop, like, whoa, bad, stop, red, danger. The thing about emojis is just be careful with not using too many, right? Less is more with the emojis. I don't know what legal soft landing is. As long as your clients know or audience know, that's fine. But I provide this service for these businesses. That's okay. I mean, I think the only challenge would be this is such a broad category. I'd love to niche it more. Establish and operate confidentially. So you're getting into some of the benefits. I would add up higher, like, where you've seen my work or clients who trust me. And then I would put in that, Jose Cuervo in those because you've got some nice social proof. Yeah, this is good. Yep. Yeah, very solid. Very, very good. A lot better than most profiles I see. So you got that going for you, my friend. Well done. All right. So let's see. Other questions. Okay. So Bill says, pretty common question. What if you're in 2 or more different industries? Yeah. So I talked about that a little bit earlier, Bill. Basically, you kind of have to hedge your bets a little bit with your LinkedIn headline and your about section. And you really, it's hard to kind of figure out, you've got to decide which thing you want to go after at which time. So what I mean by that, it might be easier to share my screen. Just do that again here. Share screen. Basically, and I'll go to my profile this time as an example. Let's say I also have a business where I'm doing ghostwriting or something. So if you have 2 completely opposite businesses that can't be tied together in a LinkedIn headline, then what I would suggest is, while you're trying to actively grow one of the 2 businesses, hyper niche the top of your profile to one audience, and then use LinkedIn and Sales Navigator to go after that specific audience. So let's say you have business number 1 and business number 2. They're complete opposites. They don't really make sense. I would say, you know what, for the next 30 days, I'm going to market business number 1. So I'm going to use LinkedIn search to find business number 1 people. I'm going to have my headline talk all about business 1. I'm going to have my about section talk all about business 1. And then at the bottom in your experience area, you can still talk about, business number 1, business number 2, business number 3. And just during whatever season you're in, then I would pick that business to actively market on LinkedIn. The truth about LinkedIn is 99% of your leads are going to come from you reaching out to people one-on-one. It's not you magically getting found on LinkedIn search. It's not people magically seeing your content and beating down your door to hire you. It's you reaching out one-on-one, sending a one-on-one message, offering some free content. So with that in mind, it's not that big a deal if you pivot and say, you know what, for the next 2 months, I'm going to focus on business 1, and then I'm going to pivot to business 2. And because LinkedIn is all digital, you can just change your headline, change your about section. So hopefully that helps you, my friend. All right. What if your LinkedIn connections are limited? Nick says to say 2,500. I think you probably mean 25,000. How do we leverage, or maybe do you mean outreach, LinkedIn outreach? Yeah, so it depends. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. If you're saying like how many total connections can you have, Nick, you can get up to 25 to 30,000 first degree connections. So it takes quite a while to get there. You can always remove people if they're not part of your, ideal people that you want to talk to one-on-one. You can also convert your profile to follow only, where people just follow you and in theory can see your content. Doesn't always happen. If you're talking about, hey, I'm limited in how many invites I can send, how many messages I can send, how do I get more people coming to me inbound, then I would say client attracting profile, put in the right keywords that LinkedIn likes, all of which we do for you as a client. I also cover it more in depth in my online courses, the book, everything else. Have a really optimized LinkedIn profile so you get found easier. And the way LinkedIn works with, people finding you is the more people you're connected to that LinkedIn thinks are relevant to. LinkedIn is a search engine. So someone's going to come on. Nick, remind me what kind of business you do. Someone's going to go on and search for the type of business Nick provides. Let's say you're a business coach, Nick. They're going to type business coach, looking for a business coach on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's going to display people, and it's going to say, well, I'm only going to surface Nick's profile if Nick is connected to people that you're connected to, and or Nick's in your geographical area, and or Nick provides a service that has, people reviewing it and saying it's good, and or there's other common things between you and Nick. So it's kind of a little bit of a crapshoot, but there's ways to kind of enhance that. Obviously, too, the more activity you have on LinkedIn, the more people you invite, reach out to, message, the more people come and look at your profile, invite you to connect, all that. So, Nick's a headhunter. Okay. So, yeah, with headhunting, I mean, basically, yeah, if you're limited to 2,500 outreaches a week, it's, understanding that I got to be really strategic with those. And then for the other options, some of what I talked about with basically, trying to get your profile optimized, being active on there. You'll get search results like you can see with LinkedIn metrics, depending on what you have. I don't know, as a headhunter, if you have, Sales Navigator or one of the HR upgrades. I'm trying to figure out where that is. Normally I can see who's viewing my profile. Okay, so what I'm talking about, just so people can see here. So let me remove Nick's comment, and then we'll wrap up here too. So basically what I'm looking at, LinkedIn. Yeah, so, depending on what you sign up for, if you've got some premium version of LinkedIn, you can get some metrics and see like, hey, over the past year, how many people have viewed my profile, right? And what's it week to week, right? And how many people are looking at my stuff. And a lot of this will be based on you're showing up in LinkedIn searches, or you've sent out messages and people are coming to look at who sent them a message. And then obviously the great thing is LinkedIn will show you like, hey, here's who's been looking at your stuff. And then you can see if they're a good lead, you can message them, right? And say, oh, Kelly looks like a great lead for me. I can see she just looked at my profile. I can see she viewed it 2 hours ago, right? So this is the nice thing about LinkedIn and being active on the platform is if I see Kelly looked at my profile 2 hours ago and she's a CEO and it looks like the type of thing I'm looking for, I can immediately, even from here, connect with her. I can go to her profile, send a message, and basically say, hey, Kelly, I noticed you just viewed my LinkedIn profile. What caught your attention or what brought you by? Now you have context for a conversation, right? So then again, you can look at this and personalize it a little bit. Hey, congrats on all the success you've had here. I see you live in this town, whatever. Add a little personalization. And that's the power of kind of paying attention to some of these metrics about who's viewing your profile, who's looking at your stuff, who's commenting. Those are great little opportunities to sprinkle in. And then obviously with your inbound invites, right? So I've got inbound invites. So here's John says on your webinar. So now I have context for when I accept hopefully John, you're still on, but I can accept John's invite and hit reply. And I have context for a conversation with John Schaefer to say, hey, John, so glad you joined me on the LinkedIn Live today. What did you find most helpful? What was most useful? Then John is going to write back and say, hey, I really like the part about blank. And I can say, fantastic. How have you implemented that? Are you looking for help? Whatever. And we can start a natural conversation. So same idea, right? So again, you can always get these inbound opportunities too, and then look at all of these. Sometimes people write notes, sometimes they don't, but you can see and filter pretty quickly, like who's worth following up with, who's not. Do you have context? All that good stuff. So now I could go on and on and on. I love doing this stuff. Here's what I want to do. If you're joining us late, if you want help, just do what Darlene did in the comments and what Amy with the letters did earlier. If you want Nemo Media Group, if you want to explore, there's no obligation, there's no drama, anything like that. There's no sales pitch, heavy-handed stuff. If you want to explore having us help you with LinkedIn lead generation, just type help in the comments, even if you're watching the replay, and one of us will reach out to you and try to connect with you and see what you got going on. Basically, the way it works is we will kind of look at your profile, have you maybe fill out a quick type form. It takes about 60 seconds. Get to know more about your business model, your target audience, what you're trying to do. And then we'll basically say like, hey, based on what you're saying, let's have a strategy call. We'll come in with some ideas specific to you and your niche, your business, and go, hey, based on what you've told us, here's a plan you could use on LinkedIn. If you want our help implementing it, here's what that can look like. Or if we look at your situation and, depending on what you tell us, we might say, hey, you know what, if you've got an assistant, you want to do this yourself, whatever it might be, here's some free resources. Here's an online course with all our best training. You can take it and implement it, whatever it might be. Our goal is just to provide value in some form or fashion. So obviously, our main thing is we love the done for you clients and done with you and helping you get 5 and 6 figure sales. We're pretty selective in who we take for that. We don't work with a whole lot of clients. We have a great team, amazing team, high end. You saw people were talking about the graphic design and the quality of the writing and all that. That's our team. Like, we amazing folks, have written for Rolling Stone, worked with Martha Stewart, Tim McGraw. Like, I've really tried to build Nemo Media Group, the agency, with the best talent possible, so that when you work with us, you're getting, the top value, the top quality content. Because the thing with LinkedIn, as you've noticed from this training today, is it really is about you. It's about capturing your unique voice, your personal brand. How do we get the real life, authentic you through LinkedIn to people so that they want to engage with you and talk with you? How do we move them through a funnel? How do we track all these conversations? How do we warm them up? How do we pre-qualify them so that we can get them in front of you, ready to buy, warmed up? They already know your story, all that stuff. So without further ado, if you want, just type help in the comments. The other option is just to email us, john@nemomediagroup.com. I'm happy to chat with you, provide free resources, explore the done with you or done for you services if we think we can help there. And let me just make sure before I hop off, there's any other last minute comments. So I think we're all caught up. So thank you, everybody who watched. If you have questions, reach out to Becca Arco. She was on here. She's in the chat. You can find her in the comments. She can help get you any resources or replay links or books or anything like that you want. Obviously, nemomediagroup.com is a great place to find us, more about the agency. Thank you all so much for being on. Amazing. I really appreciate each and every one of you. I think you should all go out and get a world's best farter t-shirt. Great Father's Day gift coming up in June. I can't believe I'm wearing this. I don't care. I'm having fun. It's Friday, baby. All right. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. Be well, and we'll talk to you soon.